As you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of CityPlace condos. I've made many videos on this channel talking about my opinion on CityPlace condos, breaking down different buildings, but there's a few exceptions. There are few CityPlace condos that I've actually recommended in the past. Now I have actually purchased in for a client. That's right, in today's video, we're gonna take a look at a 1+1 with one parking, 616 square feet unit I purchased for my wonderful Toronto condo buyer in CityPlace. We're going to break down the area, break down the unit, tell you how the transaction came about. The purchase price was $665,000, and as always, give you all the context you need to know about this transaction and tell you what it says about the Toronto and GTA real estate market, and of course, break down the building, break down the area. Before I go up and show you the unit, as always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, on this channel, we like to do all these types of videos, condo tours for what I bought and sold, area analysis, building reviews, market analysis, buyer advice, seller advice. So if you find any of this content informative or enjoyable, subscribe. My contact link is in the description box. Call to set up a chat for any buying or selling inquiries, and feel free to join the channel membership if you are a fan of this channel and want to support a bit more. Anyways, let's head on up. Now, a little bit more about the building before we go up and see the unit. This is 11 Brunel, and I think, or Brunel, is Brunel or Brunel, whichever preference you have of saying it. And along with 15 Brunel/Brunel, it's probably one of the better, if not the best buildings within CityPlace. And one of the reasons it's probably one of the best buildings in CityPlace, and one of the few buildings I would actually recommend in CityPlace, which I did to my buyer here, is it's actually managed decently well. They've had good renovations recently that didn't tap too much into their reserve fund, right? That's a key thing when you're talking about renovations in buildings. And the elevator wait times, obviously for a high rise in downtown, right? Relatively speaking, is pretty good, right? So as we walk in, safe to say it doesn't have many of the shortfalls and some of the issues that most CityPlace condos suffer from. This is once again one of the best condos within CityPlace, and this is coming from a guy who's not the biggest fan of CityPlace. I've been on record with this. Now, a little bit more about the unit before I get back to the building. Once again, 1+1, 600 and around 20 square feet in size, with a CN Tower view that I will show you. Purchased for $665,000. We actually purchased this in May. It was a long closing situation. Now it's August, and guess what? Even up until now, although the market has declined from the time we purchased it, in this building, this is probably still the best purchase made when you take a look at the transactions that have occurred since the time of this purchase. There were a couple of 1+1s that were purchased after we bought this, and they were purchased for a much higher price. Not as good of a view, but it was a higher floor and they were a little bit more updated in terms of renovations. Nonetheless though, this purchase so far has stood the test of time. And look at that CN Tower view. These are things that cannot be underestimated, right? CN Tower views such as that might be a bit of a cliche, but they truly go a long way in terms of maintaining values, providing a threshold of support in a down market, and on a hot up market, this thing is going to get you in excess of $30,000, $40,000 in a hot seller friendly market on top of your purchase price for your unit. So CN Tower views right on Spadina, close to Front Street. Now, what does this say about the market at large? At the time of purchasing this unit, right? This unit, as you guys can see so far, needs some work, right? The cabinets are a bit more outdated. Obviously, it was beautifully staged when we saw it with my client, but there's some scratches here and there. It needs some minor work. And this accent wall, which at first we were not a big fan of, but thus far my client has decided to keep it. Well, in a down market, these small items can go a long way, especially a listing such as this that was listed, I believe, multiple times. If my memory serves me correct, I could be wrong about this. This was back in May. We used all this as an item of leverage. This is not to say, oh, there's a scratch here, a scratch there, so we're gonna offer 50K less. This is simply to say, when there's an influx of inventory, a overwhelming amount of listings for sale, competing against each other, supply exceeds demand, guess what? The buyers have the leverage. And with this particular buyer, even all the way back in April and May, we took our sweet time. We looked in Fort York. We looked a little bit further north on Bay Street. We looked a little bit further east, and we really found a unit that spoke to him as a client. And this is not an investor, this is an end user, which brings me to talking about the den, the 1+1. Now, you've noticed something probably quite common thus far, ubiquitous across these what your money can buy videos lately, is that it's a lot of 1+1s. And this really drives the point home that nowadays more than ever, 1+1s are sought after, especially +1s that have space for a home office, such as the case with this one. Now, obviously this just closed, so there's some items on the ground here. You know, it's not the most presentable. At the time, this +1 was beautifully staged. Maybe I can put up some photos of the staging at the time. And it has ample amount of space for a home office, which is once again at the risk of sounding redundant. I said this in my most recent What Your Money Can Buy video for $645,000 1+1 I bought in North York. I'll say the same again. I'm seeing across all my buyers, +1s are more important than ever because of home offices, working from home, or extra additional space for storage, reading room, so on and so forth. All right, now we are up top. That was funny. But now we're up top on the lounge level. The lounge of this building has beautiful water views on the CN Tower view, as I will show you guys shortly. Let's wrap up talking about the building a little bit more. I think the amenities of this building are at a perfect level where it's not overwhelming like the other CityPlace condos, where it's going to cause a high degree of maintenance fees in the future. Don't get me wrong, the maintenance for this building is a little bit on the higher end, but you get 2 of the 3 utilities included, and obviously parking is included in this case, and really nice amenities. And listen, it's not a perfect building, right? It's one of the best buildings in CityPlace, but it's not a perfect building. There's no such a thing as a perfect building. But in this case, for what my buyer was looking for, at the price we got it for, the location, it was a great fit and a great match. Anyways, guys, this was another edition of What Your Money Can Buy. For more editions of this series, check out my channel. As always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate, Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Follow me for more, or for any buying or selling inquiries, get in touch. Thank you very much, sir, for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.